So thank you for the interview. If you can introduce yourself and your project for the people who doesn't know DefiZap, it would be great.
Thanks. Yeah, I'm Nodar Janashia, one of the founding team members from DefiZap. DefiZap helps you get instant access to interesting opportunities in DeFi. Stuff like lending, pooling, letters of liquidity pooling, margin trading, and more.
No, it's amazing because I think you have your project. It has permitted to understand what are the opportunities to really to have more complex financial products. So in order to do it easily, and for me, some of your proposal have permitted me to discover new ways of investing. So can you right now explain us what are the most used product that you have developed?
Absolutely, yeah. The most popular Zaps, which quote unquote is like a investment product, but I don't really, I guess, like to say that too much. It's more like, again, getting instant access to these otherwise more or less hidden opportunities in DeFi, right? So like the most popular one has been a Ceph Unipool one. So what that helps you do is with one click, one transaction, you are able to get in a pool, which is ETH and Ceph pool. So your ETH in the background gets split into two halves. And basically what you're doing, what happens is you're getting the trading fees that now happen every time people do a swap from ETH to Ceph on Uniswap. And you're getting an extra rewarding for staking from the synthetics team. So like if you hold your liquidity there for more than I think it's like 10 days, then you will be getting an extra SNX token sent to your wallet by being a liquidity provider in that pool.
That's great because it's a combination that sometimes, first of all, you have to know very good all the ecosystem.
Yeah.
And second, you have to think about this mix of product that makes sense.
Yeah, exactly. Like to me, each one of these DeFi protocols, they provide an amazing service, right? Like automated market making or algorithmically priced interest rates. All these things are, crazy next level innovation for the financial ecosystem. And then using them together, you can come up with like brand new use cases, right? That haven't perhaps even been used in traditional finance before. So I like how a lot of the projects are augmenting the existing financial instruments we have in the traditional space already. But what's most interesting to me perhaps is like these brand new use cases that have been largely untapped and unexplored.
Yes. Correct me if I'm wrong. I think your product or your platform permits to directly do this kind of contract. They don't create any token that represent this investment. So as I understand, they invest for you in the different product that combines together. No?
Exactly. We create easy gateways into DeFi, underlying DeFi platforms themselves. So the most important thing to keep in mind is when you're using, when you're zapping yourself in, you are doing exactly the same thing that you would be doing manually with multiple transactions if you were to manually interact with these underlying protocols yourself. So like again, a simple case scenario where you're getting into a pool on Uniswap starting with ETH, you have to do 3 transactions, right, in order to make that happen. You could do the same thing, so getting back the same liquidity tracking tokens from Uniswap by using DefiZap in 1 transaction. So we abstracted 3 on-chain transactions for an end user, and yes, just like you said, you're not getting like some extra token that now DefiZap minted for you, where you're getting the same exact token that Uniswap minted for you. So as long as you're able to trust the underlying protocols that the Zap is touching, that's you should use that.
We are in EthDenver, and we have seen a lot of projects that creates tokens around this kind of opportunities. What do you think about this? Not a good idea, as you say, or because there are some projects that has created like this bundle of I see one that is nth token, or I see one that leverages several times in compound ETH. So what do you think about creating tokens? What are the trade-offs? You say you think that it's better to be exposed directly to the protocol, not to the token that you mint? What your thoughts about that?
Yeah, absolutely. So it depends. For example, I guess what you mentioned was like leverage tracking positions. Right?
It's in if you know that there are people who leverage in compound by staking ETH, DAI buying more ETH. So like there's
yeah. I mean that's basically how all the leverage trading works in our ecosystem, right? It's like locking up ETH, drawing loan to it, and then buying more ETH. We're locking up more ETH, and then we're drawing loans. So kind of like that loop. And you could go up to like 20x that way, but obviously it becomes risky.
Yeah, yes. But they have created a token that is leveraged two times.
The what?
They can create a token that creates two leverage or expose you to 2x.
2x. Yeah, you're talking about one
Yeah.
inch? Yeah, of course. Yeah, I spoke to them earlier. So it's like, it's similar to what Fulcrum is doing, but they are using a couple of different channels. They're like trying to reduce slippage. Like I'm not sure if you saw like recently somebody tried to close down a large Fulcrum position and they experienced like 70% slippage.
Yeah.
It's pretty bad. So I mean, yeah, like going back to I guess your question, we love experimentation in that field because we would then use the battle-tested platforms to integrate into one of the zaps. So like what we do is we, for example, like leverage liquidity pooling, we combine the entering into a pool and the leverage position. So we're not like trying to create a platform just for leverage or just for that. We're trying to, take the full advantage of the composability, and at the same time you're writing out all the manual steps that are involved under the hood. So you always feel free to do this yourself on your own, but you're just gonna end up wasting more time, right?
Yeah. So I see you evolving like a marketplace of products of financial. What are you working? What do you think? What are you doing right now in the next bundles of if you can give us some advance of what you see more opportunity right now?
Yeah, it's just like Amazon books, DefiZap, Zaps. So we're like trying to really take a really data-driven approach to releasing new Zaps. Like we have 30 new Zaps ready to go, but we don't want to blast the end user with all of these new concepts. We want to like ease them into these experiences. And basically get them like addicted to these apps, right? So that eventually they can start creating their own zaps. Like we have ideas around that. But to tell you really short term, we have plans to add additional pools for yield aggregation. So stuff like Curve Finance, Cowrie, Balancer, all of these new pooling opportunities that are coming onto the market that we want to take advantage of, and we want the end user to take advantage of, right? So like right now, all the people, a lot of our industry is focused on the yield aggregation and around lending opportunities. So let me go from compound to Fulcrum to DYDX, getting the best yield on interest, right? Like the lending opportunities. What we want to put a little more focus on is the yield on automated marketing and making opportunities. So getting you the best pool rates, jumping from pool to pool. Like pool bridging is our next thing, where you get to one click jump between one pool to another pool. So you could be always, analyzing what goes on chain within pools and making a couple assumptions like, hey, where's the volume to the total liquidity in the pool ratio the best? Taking 3, 5, 7, 30-day moving averages of underlying prices and the volatility around the volume that happened throughout all those time periods, to come up with a couple of estimates of, hey, I want to be in this pool for a week, then next week I'm going to be in that pool, depending on the activity that now happened this week, and kind of keep switching between pools, aggregating the best yield around those.
That's interesting. And the last two questions, I consider you one of the most experts in composability in DeFi. One of them is, first of all, how did you see the hacking of DCX as it was really like a composability of a lot of products? What are your thoughts about this intelligence that happens in that kind of hacking? And the other question is about, it's only interest rate to get the most top interest rate, or is it more about diversifying the interest rate in? Sometimes I see a lot of research in trying to find the best interest rate, but people doesn't talk about diversification of platforms. That it's related to the question.
Spreading the risk. Yeah.
Yes, sometimes it's more important, or no, I don't know your thoughts about only the interest rate, or more being diversified and not optimizing the interest rate.
Yeah, exactly. It's hard to, I guess, especially when the ecosystem is growing so rapidly, to really come up with this one-off solution that helps you optimize the interest rate and jumping between the best lending opportunities. Because I'm sure you've seen a lot of projects. They basically change the rates by doing the reshuffling, right? So there's a lot of things that you have to watch out for, and then at the same time, there's multiple projects doing this, right? So if they're having the same parameters that they're watching and they're doing this reshuffling at the same time, they're all changing these rates at the same time, and it just becomes like a salad, right?
Yeah.
In terms of the BZX hack, the BZX hack was definitely interesting, right? So in my opinion, first of all, I don't view it as a hack. I don't view it as an attack. I don't view it as stealing money. I view it as making our ecosystem more resilient.
Sure.
So it's not an attacker, it's a coder who did this. I know a lot of people say it's market manipulation, but if you think about it, high frequency trading, what is that? That's basically that. It's just nobody really wants to admit that, but that's what it is, and it's being taken advantage of every day in the traditional markets. Just because these people are not getting caught, doesn't mean it's not happening in the background, which, really, really, really small fractions that eventually end up pretty big things for the hedge funds, right? Again, just going back to the point that I would, as a matter of fact, I don't want to say I would encourage this, but I would set up teams should be setting up bounties around this to say, hey, please find this kind of exploit so that we can close it out as soon as possible, right? And to be fair, even the team at BZX, they were told about this exploit before, right? But they didn't do anything until shit hit the fan. So I think the project should be doing something before that happens and encouraging the coders to make these things come to light before they hit the fan.
Okay. Thank you very much. No, very interesting. Congratulations for your project, and we will follow all your development.
Thanks, man. A pleasure.